Hello, everyone. So glad to be here. And how is that energy after the coffee break? Is it on? I don't hear you. Is it on? Great, great, perfect. So I am Jose Luis. Everybody calls me Jose or Papo. You know, all my friends call me Papo. So if you want, go ahead and call me that. I am Cuban. I have the luck of having many homes. My country, of course. Now I live in Orlando, Florida. The Plains and Jamaica, because I stay here a lot. So that is really lucky for me. And 20 minutes ago, I just find out that I have a colleague from my universe right next to me, and I didn't know. So that was it was a great experience because the world is so small, and you know, we're all connected, and that is also what happens on the edge. So we are here today to talk about the edge, and specifically, how can we enable the enterprise edge with some items, some connectivity models, some ways, and one of them is SASE. It's a fairly new concept, and I want to go through it on SD1 and SSE, so we can all talk a little bit about this, and maybe at the end of the session, I hope that we can all know a little bit better about what is SASE. So again, I'm Jose. I'm the territory manager for the English Caribbean region. I am here like almost all the time, and we are Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. We are the company that goes from edge to cloud. So we provide the whole solution on the transformation, on the digital transformation of the companies from edge to cloud. And talking a little bit about the edge, what is it specifically? What is the edge? It can be many things, right? For us, the edge, it's where the action takes place. It's where things happen. The edge is right here, in this place, where the people and the devices are connected, where the most of data is being generated, where the users and the devices, IoT devices, etc., they want to use their local apps in order to access databases or any kind of applications in the data center. And that data center is being transformed into what we call today hybrid cloud, right? So having said that, the edge nowadays is going through a lot of transformation. We've been saying this like a lot today, and I think when you go back home, you will go with the message that everything is changing. The change is the constant nowadays. It happens to everybody. It's normal. So one of the best advices that we can give you is keep your open mind, right? Listen and try to get in there and talk to our partners. Because tomorrow, most of us, we are going to go in a plane back home, but info exchange stays here. And that is something that I want to, stay really clear. We are a company that we are partner-led, so we go into the market via partners all the time. So our partners represent us. Our partners are the amalgamation of all of the parts together. So right now, you're having here a forum that I have to be clear with you. I don't see this every day or in every island in the region. They are doing an amazing job, right? And it's just not reselling stuff to you and trying to get the thing. They are trying to get the thing done, and they want to bring all of these services for you and do the managed service and delivery as a service, any of the variants that we can do together. But being here is important. So we try to be here, most of the time, info change here. So let's work that out together. So we've been going through the day talking about what is been happening with the data center. It went from having a lot of servers, storage, and stuff on-prem. Then the public cloud came, and it attracted a lot of people, a lot of organizations, and all of you wanted to go there and start, connecting with the cloud and try to get the subscriptions and put all of your workflows in the public cloud. But then at some point, that was not the best idea, and then at the end, The world went hybrid. So right now, there is no only one solution for that according to our belief. It means that what we believe is that the whole world is hybrid, and basically you need to listen to what your workflow is and how it should be better in order to deliver services to your users, which are the main goal for your company. And according to that workflow, deliver some services based on an on-prem solution, like the ones that we've been talking today here, or others can be done in the cloud. But a lot of things have been happening here, and the edge is not what it used to be before. I remember when I was in my university with Harry, we were a big campus, and I'm talking about many acres of people there studying. We had around 1,100 computers, all of them wired. There was nothing wireless, okay? A big network, fiber optics. We did the fiber optics fusion. We did the concentration into a place. We did the management. There were a network management system in that place, like open source, trying to do our best. And that's it, right? Everything went through only one place, which was a proxy, right? So if you wanted to consume the services, they were locally stored in a local server, and then at some point, there were some national services that you could access to from the National Ministry of Education, but that's it. There were nobody doing different stuff with a wireless device or a PDA, trying to connect to the network and trying to access those services. So right now, it is everywhere. So the people and the devices are connected everywhere, and they're accessing the applications everywhere. And those applications are running anywhere. And what is happening with that edge? Well, the edge is kind of diffused right now. So there is no perimeter anymore. You cannot be secure and you cannot be safe by controlling the access to the internet into a firewall that connects into the ISPs. ISP number 1, 2, and 3, and if you control and you deliver good service in there, you're good to go. It doesn't work like that anymore. So the world has been changing all the time, and this is again a cycle. But when you have a company and you have employees, and those employees are connected to your Wi-Fi and your workstations are connected to the wire side, they also have an uplink into the internet via digital, cable and wireless, Neptune, whatever. So you're basically having one leg into the local network of your companies, and then the other one is out. And who is covering for all of those? It's kind of tricky. So there is another situation that freaks everybody out. The data, we're talking about securing, encrypting, having backup and recovery, having replications, many sites of the data in the data centers, in the public cloud, in the hybrid combination of both. But what are those elements for? Does those have any kind of a sense to live alone? We don't believe that. They are to serve a purpose, and those are for the users. So if you have a database, if you have a website, if you have any kind of a system that you are providing in your company, that is basically to provide a service to the users. And the users are at the edge. So they are connecting through somewhere to those applications. And the thing is that when you try to control that, most of, let's say, the ransomware that is being affecting the world is coming through known people, through known devices. So the more intelligent you get at that point, the better. So we can all agree at this point that all of that shifting, all of that evolving has been complex and is making things more complex. So there are many things to do, and then our managers come and say, hey, we need to enable this. We need to do this now. Oh, we're going to 365. Oh, now we're going to deploy a new PBX to handle all of the phones. Oh, we are now doing a contact center that is going to have a CRM, blah, blah, blah. And then you need to start adapting and helping those business in order to add more revenue streams into your company. So it's normal, it happens, but with all of the tools that you have in your hands, it's getting complex. The people are now working at their homes, so the perimeter is also diffused again. You have your company locally with everybody connected there, but you have remote workers. And now the remote worker is in your network as well, right? But the remote worker stands up from the desk to grab a coffee, and there is a kid coming into the computer and click, 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 right? How many of you have lived that in the work from home environment? It's difficult. They can delete something, they can send a video of something weird, and then it's kind of tricky. So the perimeter is there, and the edge is there, it's everywhere, basically. And the other part of the story is when you try to be more proactive, and let's say you are in a hotel and you want to control the power that is being consumed in a hotel by placing thermostats, smart thermostats in the rooms to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna cut out my expenses, my operational expenses. I'm gonna place a smart thermostat into the air conditioning unit. If there is no reservation in the room, I can just turn down or turn off the AC conditioning unit, and I will save money there. And if there is a reservation, I can be proactive enough, and then I can do, hey, you know what? The guest is coming at 12, let's turn it on at 11. It will be cool at that time. It sounds smart, but the thing is that how do you regulate that? How do you know that that thermostat is secure enough? It doesn't have a head, it's headless, so there is no user behind it. It is being connected to the Wi-Fi, to the switching, to the network, going through the internet, etc., and you don't know what backdoors it can have, which kind of security flaws it can have. So there is also a big problem with all of the IoT devices, so we need to address that problem, on the way. So, in spite of these challenges that we are all living in the edge, all that matters is the experience. You still have to connect the people and the devices. There is no question about it. You still have to define which is the application that needs to go through the right lane at the right moment because it is critical business. It is critical mission. If there is somebody like accessing some service that, it's like the bread and butter of that company, you need to prioritize that over somebody trying to download an email, which is important too, but not urgent, okay? And at the same time, how do you react or be proactive before reaction to any kind of problem that the edge is going to give you? Okay, you can have all of the data center, the hybrid cloud, and everything working fine, and everything replicated, and everything with 3 seconds of recovery or RPO or whatever, but if you don't have the people that can access that, there's no point, okay? That's why the edge is so important. That's why we identify our mission as how can we help our customers in the edge to cloud transformation. So for us, this was a big transformation as well, and we're always doing this, we're always innovating. So a couple of years ago, we added all of our solutions into only one schema, into only one roadmap, into only one architecture, which is called Aruba ESP. ESP stands for Edge Services Platform, and I'm gonna go through more details on ESP in the afternoon, after lunch. But the main idea is that in this session today, we want to talk about the edge, and we want to talk about how the enterprise edge can be improved overall locally in a country as Jamaica, where we have so many problems with accessing the internet, with accessing from a branch all of the resources that the headquarter is delivering to me. How are we secure? How are we getting the best of the best in there? So we do that basically with solutions as SD-WAN, and SD-WAN being part of SASE as well. Is there anybody in the room that knows what SASE means? Can you please raise your hand? I won't do any questions. I just want to know if there is any kind of idea of SASE. Do you know what SASE means? SASE? Not sazón cubano, nothing like that. It's SASE, right? No, we're going to fix that today. And what about SD-WAN? Do you know what SD-WAN means? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an older concept. Not that old, but I can see that a lot of people knows about that. InfoChange, you've done a very good job. Thank you for that. So we're going to go through SASE for a little bit. And for us, and as a concept that is being evolving in the market, SASE means Secure Access Service Edge. right? It's basically a concept, it's basically a framework of enabling the services in the WAN, defined by software, but then delivering more secure services on top of it. There is no product, there is no option, there is no click, there is no I buy 2 boxes and with that I am done. It is more of a strategy, it's more of a framework where you can say, hey, I am doing SASE right now by just placing devices and taking care of the WAN and enabling a couple of secure services for enabling that secure service to the data center. That's it, you're doing SASE. Maybe you're just interested in doing SD-WAN, and that's it. And then at some point, you're gonna jump into the SASE. But going through SD-WAN first, okay, remember, SASE, Secure Access Service Edge. It has like 2 components that have been evolving into SASE, SD-WAN and SSE. SD-WAN being software-defined WAN, SSE means Secure Service Edge. We're gonna check a little bit on SD-WAN, and what can we do with the SD-WAN, and this is really important for you all. Your all companies located here with expansion to the region, and then you're using, again, all of the ISP WAN links, all of the internet links, MPLS, direct internet access, et cetera, in order to access the services in the hybrid cloud, right? So let's just imagine you have in the screen a diagram of 2 branches trying to connect or connecting in between them via the internet or via the intranet or via VPN. It doesn't matter for us. For us, it really doesn't matter. It can be a satellite link, it can be an SD-WAN using, it can be a WAN link via a fiber, it can be a WAN link via DSL, it doesn't really matter for us. So what we do, and this is also extended to any schema where you can have a headquarter and 20 branches, 200 branches, 2,000 branches. Again, it doesn't matter. What we do is that we try to orchestrate the service and deliver the best of the best. So in this case, you have 2 branches being connected by a media, which we don't care which is, but we are placing devices in there in the edge, receiving the WAN links, which we call Edge Connect. The device is called Edge Connect. So that device is gonna have 1, 2, 3 ports. Again, it doesn't matter. We're gonna receive every one of the links in one of those ports. We're gonna listen into the traffic. We're gonna identify the traffic in order to make the whole solution intelligent and application-driven, okay? So we're gonna boost the internet for enabling the best of the bandwidth that is being delivered to you. Okay, all of the ISP that deliver services to companies, they have packet error, they have latency, they have a lot of people behind that platform and they're making errors. They are overselling the links as well. They have to in some order to make that profitable. But the thing is that the link that you're using through the internet is not for you only. It's being used by 25, 50 companies. If you're not paying for that, you know, to have something dedicated to you. So at the end, one of the main intentions in here is to increase the bandwidth. If you're receiving 5 megs or 10 megs or 20 megs, let's make those the more real as possible. Or if you're paying for a 5 meg on the MPLS, which is something really expensive, then we can forget about it is an MPLS, do all of the magic behind it, and then convert it into a regular contract. Direct internet access is going to be 1/10 of what it's worth in MPLS, and then you're gonna be increasing your bandwidth and lowering your cost. So when we deploy the Edge Connect SD-WAN solution in your edge, let's say in the headquarter, or the primary and the secondary, where you have your hybrid cloud with application in between them, all of the internet links that goes there, we place an Edge Connect device in there, we manage it and orchestrate it with an Aruba orchestrator, and then we place an Edge Connect in every one of the branches, and then we take care of the rest, right? So together we can increase your return of investment of all of the applications and operations that you're running in your network. We're gonna give you more operations, so if you're having like any kind of hiccups because the internet is not working, then we can increase that number, so we can put you in business with a higher level of availability. We can driven the whole thing based on your business So this is a technology that is not made for you to work how it needs you to work. It is a technology that is made for listening into your needs. If you're a contact center, I'm gonna say, which is your application that you need to be like the fastest or with the highest priority or whatever? What is the intention of your business? If you are a Ministry of Health, if you are a company that takes cover credit or loans or something like that, what is the main intention of your entity? So we can listen into that and put the priority and the conservation in that application. So this technology needs to work for you, not on the other way. So we can add policies to the applications, to the users. We can have intelligence on top of the cloud. We use artificial intelligent operations. We can scale. We can give you high performance. We can do a lot of stuff in there. But the main intention that I want you to take with you today is that what we're doing with HPE Aruba Networking as a brand to develop on the SD-WAN side of that SASE equation is to listen to your business, to listen to your needs, and then work based on that. Okay? We add automation, we simplify, and there is something important in here. Our partner locally is an expert in this. We've been doing this for a long time. So services is important. It's not just placing a box in there, it's placing licenses, it's placing whatever support, and then hope that everything is working fine. It's the partner local that is gonna take over any RMAs, it's gonna take over any tax cases, it's gonna take over consultancy and education for you, okay? So we extend this whole thing from a very simple use case to a very complex use case, right? That's why it means scalable. We can deploy software in the mobile phones, in the tablets, on the computers, and then we can enable the secure access via the SD-WAN to the resources. We can go and scale a little bit, and if you go to my booth in the back, I'm gonna show you some access points that can be deployed in a remote branch. Let's say that you are, I don't know, a ministry and you have 200 branches. If you have a branch in Ocho Rios with 4 employees, you can just deliver one of the internet access, place one of the access points in there, and with that, you will do the whole thing. So you will deploy the Wi-Fi, you will deploy the wired services, you will deploy the security, and you will take over from that AP a secure access to all of the corporate resources in the hybrid cloud and also the internet. So you can say everything that matters, going to the link that has the better availability for me, is not link 1 and link 2 anymore, it's the one that works for me. And then internet breakout, I don't know, Facebook and Instagram, if I want to enable that, it's gonna go through another route, right? So that's basically what we can do with a remote branch, and we call that micro branch, and I have the access point in the back. But if the branch is bigger, and you have printers and switches, and you need to deploy the Wi-Fi in places like this, and you have 20, 40 employees in there, you're taking care of guests, and it gets more complex, then we can translate all of the needs of that branch into technology, and then we take care of that. But how can we enable that SD-WAN fabric to work with whatever you need? Well, in the first place, with the applications that you're running in the data center, in the hybrid cloud, we can do that as well. If you have like public clouds and you have workflows working in the public cloud, like Azure, Google, Amazon, etc., we can deploy gateways, virtual gateways in there. So you can also secure tunnels into that place and then have the right access to the right applications because it's there. Again, we need to listen to the users and how the workflow of the connectivity is going to run. Through where, okay? So, and I want to make something clear, and this is something that you've heard before from my previous colleagues. We are not here to do everything by ourselves. And the world is not that way anymore. So we cannot deploy a solution and try to target all of your fully needs and everything with only one solution. So we try to be the expert in a field, edge to cloud, but if you need to integrate something else, then that something else need to speak in APIs, which is really a standard nowadays. So we do APIs, we do REST APIs, we do programmability, we do scripting. So we can help you in your workflows. Because many of you can be like IT administrators, IT managers, technology directors, et cetera, and then you can take over of something that was mentioned in the beginning, like, hey, there's a printer, in problem, there is an access point in problem, and then you're just putting off fires. So at the end of the day, we need to enable you to do more stuff together, right? So we can do all of that, and we can do the management on the cloud as well. So having said what is happening in the SD-WAN side, right? Everything oriented to the business, everything oriented to the applications of the customers, of what you're doing in your entity. What can we do with SSE? What can we do in order to add some more layers of security in there? So SSE, remember, it is called that way because it means Security Service Edge or Secure Service Edge. What we do in there is that we try to give you secure access to the web so you can do secure browsing. A lot of problems comes from the browsing. When you go and access any kind of website that is not secure, that is trying to fish you out, is trying to inject you with some malware or some stuff like that, then you need to secure that. And you can also have the policies enforcement based on what your company is doing. If you're a contact center, and again, you don't want your agents to be like browsing away in some kind of weird websites, you can control what they can and they cannot do. It's not just for controlling, it's for enforcing and having a very health on the equation. But on top of that, how can we secure all of the access that goes into the public cloud, into the software as a service, but again, to the hybrid cloud, all of the services that are being deployed locally in a data center. So using the Aruba, the HPE Aruba networking SSC, it basically doesn't matter if it is an employee, if it is a device, if it is a user that is being just visiting. We just identify which is the traffic that is coming through because we can listen to the traffic and identify the header of the traffic, and then based on that, where we are going to route that information to. So if it's going through applications in the data center, so be it. If it's going through the applications in the cloud, so be it. If we want to enable applications in a better and more secure way, we're gonna give you like a connector to live in the data center or in the hybrid cloud, and then give you access via web to that connector. Okay? So again, we just identify the needs, translate that into technology, and then deliver that to you so you can consume it. Now, why working with HPE Aruba networking, SSC, and SASE in general? So we're trying to give our customers a unified access to the whole platform, so you can do and run everything from one place. We simplify how you apply the policies, and again, it's not the same thing, it's not the same treatment that I'm gonna give, let's say, Terry, because I know her now, than the one that I was going to give her like 30 minutes ago. I didn't know her. So when we talk about the security, we try to identify the context of the connection. I'm going to go through that in a bit. So we try to give you the options for going public, for going hybrid, for having access to the resources, but that's the main idea, right? We're trying to be flexible here and try to give you the options for you to consume it. And that is our whole proposal. Having SASE, combination of SD-WAN, and the combination of SSE, we can work with our solutions, but if you have other components in the equation, like Zscaler, Netscope, or something similar to that, we integrate very well, and we do that in the open world. Now, let's talk a little bit about how can we listen into the context of the connection and apply something that is called Zero Trust Network. And I have a question here, with no prices or something. Just want to know and raise your hand. The prices are coming after, because I've seen that, hey, we have questions with prices, and nobody's coming, so I just want hands. Is there anybody in here that has listened before about the Zero Trust access or the Zero Trust network? Please raise your hand. I won't ask anything. I just want to know the density in the room. Many people? And I'm going to ask again, do you know what SASE means? Hands? Hands? Do you know what SASE means? Not going to do any questions? Okay, so we're working that out. So coming back to Zero Trust. Zero Trust is a concept that has been moving for many years now. And I stated before that if you have the hybrid cloud and you have many services running in there, and those are encrypted and safe, and there is a backup and recovery policy and strategy, and there is replication, and you can recover from a disaster in a minute, et cetera, that is highly important. That's half of the equation. Who is accessing to that? Who, what, where, when, how? And I'm going to ask another question in here. How many of you manages your network? Again, it's not a contest. I just want to know how many hands do we have in the room. How many of you are connecting to a management or a network management system or something like that and are checking on many MAC addresses or many things connected to the network that you don't know what are they? Okay, many hands as well. So Zero Trust, what Zero Trust does is it doesn't trust in anything until proven on the contrary, right? So you have to tell me who you are and what you're using and blah, blah, blah in order for me to trust in you as a user of my network. And you know that most of the ransomware, the phishing, and all of the security problems comes from known entities. I've heard one of my partners saying before, hey, we know that David is used to download 5 files a day. He doesn't like to work a lot, but he used to download 5 files a day, and now he's downloading or deleting 500. So it's kind of tricky, you know. There is a change in his behavior, and that is what we have to do from the network perspective as well. So for us, the Zero Trust comes also as a framework. It comes as a strategy. It comes as a way of thinking. It's a mindset where I won't trust you until you give me what you're using. So in the first place, I need to have visibility, and that visibility is going to allow me to know that you're using an iPhone, and that is an iPhone 10, and that is an iPhone 10 with this iOS, et cetera, that can be known in the network. Because we listen to the footprint of the device, and we listen to what you are, where you're trafficking in the network. How is your footprint in the TCP/IP, in the DHCP, the options that you're requesting, et cetera, et cetera. So once I get to know what you're using to connect, next, who are you? So if Ondel is using the credentials for an Active Directory, then I will know, oh, Ondel, he's the CIO of InfoChange, perfect. So I should trust him, right? Right? So I should trust him. Now I know that Ondel, with the credentials right, and with the iPhone or Android that he's using, or a tablet or a computer or something like that, I have a good pair of things that I can trust on, right? So after that, I can go and give more context into that equation. I would say, okay, Ondel, you're gonna have like access to everything sales, everything technical in the company, but you don't need any access to the financial stuff. So I'm gonna be applying roles that will follow that entity. It's not per device, it's not per user, it's the entity, it's the whole cloud, it's the whole thing that he is. And then that role is gonna pursue him. If he changes the connection, and then the what changes from an iPhone to a workstation, I will still follow Ondel and say, you don't have access to the financial stuff. You have access to the sales stuff and the technical stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So that role can be applied with many, many parameters. And that is something important that we can add into the equation. So once you're doing that, and I am applying all of the parameters in the policy, in the security side to your connection, then I can say, okay, I'm going to be conditionally monitoring you to see what you're doing, what you're integrating with, what you're trafficking, etc. Are you using the links in the SD-WAN? Are you using any kind of UTM, IDS, IPS? I will listen to what is happening to you and also to your behavior. And once something happens, then I will have the ability to act, right? So many of you have listened about the IoT concept nowadays. IoT, for me, the only difference that it brings into the equation, it's the ability to act based on a trigger, right? So I'm gonna run another question in here. How many of you have been working in the field for more than 10 years? 15 years? Many hands still up. 20 years? Come on, man. 25? Wow. So, do you remember back in the day, microprocessors, radio links, maybe users or customers with a water bulb, with a microprocessor and a sensor, and then connecting through a radio link to a station using a SCADA, and then the SCADA listening to reports and having control of those microprocessors, communication along all the way. That was IoT back in the day, but there were not a lot of action based on data and based on insight. Right now, everybody's talking about IoT, and come on, that's been in place for many, many years. The thing and the difference right now is that we're having so much data, and we're having the mechanisms to listen to that data and to create insights and references and recommendations that we are like doing real IoT right now. Because I can say, hey, if there is something happening there and these conditions comply, then I will trigger the action. Okay? So that is basically what we're doing here. So we are listening to the what, who, how, where, etc., and then if you misbehave, then I can act listening to those conditions. If you download more than the 5 megs that David downloads every day as an usual user, again, then I will act accordingly. And that action is not something that I make, it's something that you define because you know what is important for your business. So again, if you go into a contact center and one of the agents is misbehaving, then you can act accordingly by maybe sending all of the devices of the agent to a quarantine VLAN or to a quarantine network, or just blocking them off, because we have the network access control, and that is basically something that we call ClearPass. So ClearPass is multi-vendor. It doesn't care which is the network that is in place in there. It can be A, B, C, D vendor, and with ClearPass, what we're going to do is that we're going to listen to the context, and if the trigger is there, then we're going to talk to the devices and say, hey, disconnect this guy from the Wi-Fi, disconnect that guy from the network, do this, change the VLAN, etc., etc. So in there, you have the whole zero trust foundation, and that is basically what we can add on top of SASE. So again, we've been going through many things in the edge to cloud journey. Just wanted to mention to you that we've been working on that a lot, innovating. In the afternoon, I'm going to be talking about the Aruba ESP and how we can improve your experience and the experience of the users in many of the domains, because again, SD-WAN and SASE is not the same as Wi-Fi, it's not the same as wired, it's not the same as taking care of the networking in the data center. So we need to talk about many things, and the portfolio is really broad, and the main intention in here is to inspire you to be flexible, to have an open mind, to know that there is a transformation going, and the most important part is how do we enable the experience for the users. We have gone that far that we even have something that we call UXI. UXI stands for User Experience Insights. So we don't trust only on what we are saying as a vendor for networking. Okay? So we deliver the networking services for the users to connect to the hybrid cloud, right? But we do not trust solely on that. We place spies in where the users are, and those spies are sensors. And the sensors, which are multi-vendor as well, they can connect to my services and say, hey, your service is not working fine. The network internal is not working fine, or this and that services are not working fine. The database, the data backup and recovery process, or the SD-WAN links, or anything that you want to somehow audit, you can audit from the user perspective. But again, delivering that user perspective in the edge with so many technologies as the one that I've shown in here, that is what I believe is important. And basically, if you listen to that, and we go hand by hand with InfoExchange and the partnership locally, and the expertise, we can basically achieve what you're looking for. So thank you so much for your attention. It's been a pleasure to be here. I'm going to be again in the afternoon talking about Aruba ESP. I hope that you all learn a little bit about SASE, SD-WAN, the edge, and what is happening there, the security, and to know that the world is changing really fast, and we have so many things to do together. Thank you again.
Right, find out if they have any questions. Any questions before my speakers run off the stage? Do you have any questions as he was speaking about SASE? Okay, we have a question. I think this gentleman had put up his hand for 20 years and older, I think. Okay.
Yeah, I did. I remember
35.
I didn't want to go that far, but
So my question is about ClearPass, and I just want to know if out of the box, it has scripts for automated response to security events from multi-vendors, or does it just have the functionality that then the users have to code up themselves?
I didn't expect that question. Thank you for that. Well, it has. The ClearPass is a really sophisticated piece of software. And what it does basically, it controls the access to the network, right? It's a NAC, but it's a NAC with steroids. So we listen to all of the context of what is happening, and then we act based on that. So if there is a new user, like in here, for example, you connect to Wi-Fi in here, you received a Capri portal, Pegasus, blah, 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 connect with the user on the device. We do that. Not in this case specifically, but we do that use case. And then once the user connects, then I can say, oh, okay, I'm going to check on the authentication, blah, 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 blah. We do have services created. We call those configuration services, right? And the services are, we have many templates that are there already out of the box, as you mentioned. They are there. We have integration with a big ecosystem of partners, more than 150 if I am not wrong or outdated, but there is a lot of things. If you have firewalls in the edge, if you have SD-WAN devices, if you have controllers for the Wi-Fi, if you have switches, if you have data centers with switching in the data center, if you have servers accessing storage solution, we can integrate with many of those partners in the ecosystems, and the integrations, most of them are already in those templates. So when you just download the ClearPass and you place it and you start working with it, you will find a lot of templates that are there already. So they come already pre-done, to say it so. And besides that, you can create something from scratch. You're gonna listen to the connection, who is authenticating, where do you wanna go with, where are you gonna connect. You can check for posture. So I'm gonna give you a laptop, let's say, as a corporate that I am. I'm gonna give you a laptop for working on the employee environment, in the corporate environment, but that laptop is mine as an IT department, so I'm gonna control that. So I'm gonna know when the window, Mac or Linux is not updated, when the antivirus engine is not updated, when the database for viruses is not updated, if you're using anything on the USB ports, if you're using any peer-to-peer application or something like that. So I will check according, again, to what the corporate says. We don't want peer-to-peer, we don't want anything out of date connected to the network. You set your parameters, we listen to you, and then based on that, we configure all the posture, and we say, if the workstation does not comply with this, send it to warranty. And the warranty, I will give it internet, go ahead, clean yourself, and then I will check your posture again. So I can do a whole set of things. And at the end, I will grant you access with conditions. Okay?
Beautiful question, beautiful answer.